What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be going over some of the best lifts that you guys can do to help you gain weight this offseason. Let's get started. But before we get into this video, guys, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver and like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we are going to be traveling out to 11 more states across the country for a 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camp. So next up on our camp tour, we're going to be coming out to Dallas, Texas. Then we'll be heading out to the DMV area, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. Then we'll be coming out to St. Louis, Missouri, Honolulu, Hawaii, Boston, Massachusetts, Cleveland, Ohio, Austin, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Newark, New Jersey, Denver, Colorado, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are local to one of those cities and would like to come out and get some work in with us for 2 whole days of quarterback and wide receiver training, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out to one of our off-season camps. Let's get back to this video. Alright guys, so when it comes down to gaining weight, there are a lot of things that you have to do correctly in order to gain weight properly, right? And one of those is going to be doing the correct things in the gym that are going to help you put on size and put on muscle mass. Now again, you have to make sure that you're eating right, you have to make sure you're consuming enough calories, enough protein, but in the gym is where a lot of guys lose it and they gain unhealthy weight. So you have to make sure that you are doing the correct things in the gym, and that's what we're going to start with today. So the first exercise is going to be a barbell back squat. Now a barbell back squat is a very, very easy exercise to do. I'm sure you guys have all seen this before, but this is one of the best mass building exercises that you can do for your legs. Now, I don't think there's any substitute for getting under a bar and squatting. I think a lot of people, try to make excuses because they don't like squats, because squats are not the most fun exercise to do, especially when you're putting heavy weight on. So they'll say, oh, do leg extensions help? Do hamstring curls help? Oh, does push press help? And all those are great, don't get me wrong. Those will probably get your legs bigger and stronger, but there's no substitute for squats, right? Now, if you have knee injuries, whatever it is, then yeah, there's an exception to it. But the barbell back squat, where you just put this bar simply on your back, and all you were doing is we were just doing a simple squat. That is one of the best exercises that you guys can do to build mass in your legs. And I think that's great for all positions. Now, in the terms of rep range, I've seen the biggest benefit in like an 8 to 12 rep range in terms of gaining size. Now, like if you're doing like 15 to 20 reps for your legs, that maybe won't get them as big as we would like. And then if you're doing maybe like 3 to 6 reps stacking on super heavy weight, I don't know if that's necessarily going to get your legs bigger. That will definitely get your legs stronger, and I'm not saying that you should neglect that. Especially as football players, we want strong legs. But the rep range on squats, I would say, is anywhere from 8 to 12, and you could add on supersets. You could do honestly, any exercise for your legs is going to be great to help you gain muscle mass if you do the correct rep range. And I would say 8 to 12 reps, anywhere between that like 70% max range is, I think, great for this exercise. Alright guys, the next exercise I want to talk about here is going to be a barbell deadlift, which is going to be great for you guys building up size in your glutes, your hamstrings, and then also going to help with your back strength. Now, I honestly think a lot of people will do this exercise incorrectly and they will hurt themselves, which is why a lot of people are against barbell deadlift. Now, this is a garage home gym. I don't personally have this type of equipment, but if you guys do have access to this equipment where it's called the trap bar, where you step into the bar and you could load the plates on the edge and you do deadlifts that way, I think that is way better in terms of athletes because it takes less pressure off your back and it puts more pressure on your legs. So I think that's always most important, especially as an athlete, especially as a football player. And we're also going to be getting into some upper body exercises to help you gain size as this video goes on. That's healthier for football players, but I want to start with the legs first because that's most important. So barbell deadlift, very, very important that you were sitting your butt down, you were trying to drive through the floor with your feet, and you were keeping your back straight. So we need to make sure we don't round it on the way up because we're doing an absurdly amount of heavy weight. And same idea as gaining size with your legs on squats, you guys probably want to stay in that 8 to 12 rep range. So barbell deadlift, barbell back squat are 2 great exercises to help you guys build size and gain weight in the gym. Alright guys, so one thing I want to mention before I get into this next upper body exercise is that we are all football players, right? If you're watching this channel, I'm assuming that you're a football player and you need to train like a football player. Now there are players, receivers, quarterbacks, that's primarily who watches this channel, all skill position guys that need to gain weight, that need to gain size. So you're going to have to be doing some core lifts like squats, deadlifts, all these like bodybuilding deemed exercises, which is what you're going to have to do to gain weight. If you're that guy who's, in high school, you're a sophomore, freshman, 130, 140 pounds, and you need to gain weight, you have to do these specific exercises. Now, there's a lot of information out there that says, oh, football players should train like athletes, but if you have to gain weight, you have to do these specific exercises. If you're already there, like if you're, let's say, a wide receiver, 6'2", 185 pounds, you could probably train more position specific and do the explosive lifts and the single leg lifts. All those things are going to translate to on-field play and put more of an emphasis than the stuff that we're discussing in this video. But if you're that guy that needs to gain size, these exercises are great for you to do. But you cannot neglect the explosive things that are going to help with your speed, that are going to help you be more explosive and be a better player. You have to kind of mix the two of them together, and you have to be smart about it in your workout. So I just want to make sure that I address that. So the next exercise that we're going to get into is going to be something called shoulder press. So you can do this with dumbbells if you don't have a barbell. I think barbell is a great tool to use. We're going to stay with the theme of being with this barbell, but you could also do this with dumbbells if you don't have access to this. And the same thing for those last two exercises. If you don't have a barbell, you can do it with the dumbbell. It's just going to probably have to be a heavier dumbbell. So barbell shoulder press, all we're doing is, or I would consider like military press because it's very strict movement. You're going to have the bar here. You can pull it off of a rack, and all we're going to do is use all shoulder and press over my head and extend. Now, I know some of you that watch this channel are quarterbacks. I don't recommend this for quarterbacks. I think quarterbacks, you should be trying to build size in your back, your legs, your hamstrings, your glutes, all of that, rather than building size in your upper half. Because as a quarterback, you need to be mobile with your upper half. We shouldn't be doing shoulder press, and we shouldn't be doing this next exercise that I'm going to give you. But as a quarterback, focus on those first two exercises and the exercise we're going to show at the end of this video to build up size in your back, because all this will do is decrease range of motion in your upper body. But if you play another position, shoulder press like receiver, it's a great exercise to help you build stronger shoulders, and a bigger upper body to gain more muscle mass. All right, guys, so the next exercise I want to talk about that's going to help you build size in your upper body is going to be barbell flat bench press. Now, honestly, I think any variation of bench press is going to be good for you guys to build size. Flat bench press, incline, decline bench press, all of that is going to be great for you guys to build size in your chest. But the reason why QBs do not want to do this, if you need to gain weight, you should be trying to avoid this at all costs, is because when you guys are doing bench press, number one, you're building up size in your chest. So that is going to decrease your range of motion in your throwing motion. Number two, when you guys go back, there's something that you do with your shoulder blades on a bench press. You like squeeze them almost together. That is a position that you will never get to as a thrower, and that's not something that you want to build strength in. And I know it's a chest exercise, don't get me wrong, but when you go back on bench press, that like kind of contraction with your back is something you want to avoid as a quarterback. That decreases range of motion, decreases mobility, and it's just not something that you guys are ever going to use as a QB. So we want to stay healthy and we want to stay mobile up top. So for a quarterback, I want you to avoid doing this, but I'm going to give you an exercise in a second that we can do. Now, bench press is great. I think it's a lot like squats. You have to stay in that 8 to 12 rep range with the weight that's on somewhat of the heavier side. So I think that like 65, 70% max range is what I've seen the best results with. You don't want to put light weight and just do 15, 20 reps. Like, yeah, it might feel a good burn, but that's not going to help you put on size. And you don't want to be maxing out every time doing only 2 reps. It's going to help you with strength, and you have to do that. Don't get me wrong. But to put on size, I recommend staying in maybe that 6 to 8 to 12 rep range in that certain kind of format, and I think that would be great. But bench press is a great exercise that you guys can do to help you put on size. All right, guys, so the next exercise I want to talk about is going to be a barbell row, and this is a great exercise for you guys to do to build up size in your back. So especially as an athlete, probably the two most important places athletically are going to be your legs and your back. Those are the two places that you want to be the strongest at. You want to have the biggest, you want to be the biggest at, I guess you could say. And again, why is it important in football to gain weight? Like, why do we put such a stress on it? Like, why? Because it's not 7-on-7. 7-on-7, you could be skin and bones and still play really well. Why do we have to gain weight? To be able to absorb hits, right? Now, a lot of times, people don't necessarily talk about that when it comes to football players. They talk about, you got to do the explosive lifts, the box jumps, the plyometrics, and all of that is important. I'm not trying to say that. But when you're a guy who's skin and bones, needs to gain weight, you have to build size to be able to absorb hits. If a college coach is not confident that you won't be able to absorb hits, he might not look at you. Now, there are some guys, though, don't get me wrong, on the other end of the spectrum, like you look at the Travis Hunters of the world, a lot of other guys that are getting recruited nowadays, not the biggest dudes. And their mindset is when they get to that next level, the college is going to put size on them. Because anybody that's ever played college football knows that you will gain weight when you get there, because the workouts are harder, they're more challenging, they put you on a meal plan, especially if your meals are paid for, you will be eating like crazy and working out like crazy, especially if you take a redshirt year. So you got to understand that like there's a give and take, right? A lot of guys who need to get better skill-wise maybe don't need to necessarily focus on this so much. They need to get better on the field because that's what matters. But if you have the skills on the field and you just want to stand out more, this is the stuff for you. And building size in your back and your legs is the most important. So barbell row, you could do this a couple different ways. You can do reverse grip, you do hands over the top, whatever it might be. But all we are doing is we're keeping my back straight and we are just rowing and trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together almost, if you will, and feel that contraction in your lats. Pull that bar all the way up to your belly button, and that's a great exercise to build size in that back and help you put on more muscle mass to gain weight. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like to train with us in 11 different states this offseason, check out that very first link in the description below. If we are coming to a state near you, we'd love to have you out to one of our QB and wide receiver camps. I'll see you guys next time.